It was a great day for wrestling. Um, and a great day for AEW as they debuted Jay White and Keith Lee last Wednesday. I'm a little outspoken about this. We already had kind of a conversation about this off air, but what was your thoughts on the debut of Jay White and Keith Lee?
For uh, first is okay. Jay White makes sense in terms of the battle for what essentially what I'm assuming is going to be a big old battle of the elite. Um, as for Keith Lee, you know, I get I don't blame him for wanting for signing with AEW. Um, that's now of four NXT North American champions in the history of the title are now working for AEW. The fact that they they debuted him so casually, it kind of takes, I think, a lot away from it, especially given that 20 minutes ago we saw the 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 hottest free agent, that's not named CM Punk, show up. Um,
You're talking about
and
Jay White.
Jay White, yes, yes, and okay, now you're gonna put
Not
and,
20
and
minutes,
Keith,
Scooter. 5 minutes. If that was literally the next segment.
you and then you put Keith Lee over one of your originals, uh, in a Face of the Revolution match, which I will not be surprised if that match gets populated by all former WWE superstars. Here's the rub on all of this. Well, first of all, next week, Mia Yim shows up, guaranteed. Uh, and it's also not. Yeah, she'll debut. She'll make the save for Thunder Rosa. It was nice of Keith to spend his honeymoon with us. But here's the rub about all this. Tony Khan has said he even he himself will not be able to renew all the contracts he has given out when they come up for renewal. And a lot of them are coming up for renewal at the same time.
Right, and we're not talking about, CM Punk and Bryan Danielson. We're talking about the original core members that started in AEW when all of this was just a concept back in 2019.
Yeah, like, Jurassic Express, Private Party, uh,
Could we call the Butcher and the Blade?
yes.
Sonny, Sonny Kiss, Joey Janela.
Well, Janela is, I don't think we're going to ever see Janela on AEW TV again, especially now with Keith Lee. That's what happens when you make stupid remarks on Twitter. Um,
What did he say?
oh God, there was something about Janela and making a comment that I think was perceived as racist. I honestly at this point stay away from all that crap. But
Fair enough.
again, Tony Khan is making AEW out as not the alternative, but now the it's almost bordering on.
There's a reason it's black and gold, is what you're saying.
Well, well, yeah, it's almost bordering on manipulative from a psychological aspect, because I almost imagine Tony Khan saying, "Oh, well, Vince doesn't want you. What else are you gonna do?"
When it comes to WWE talent,
Yeah, basically,
hmm,
and now with the WWE not essentially making the initiative to not sign uh really any more established uh talent from here on in. They want to really make their talent homegrown.
but there's only so long that could last, and we both know that.
Yes, but it's the right thing to do in this business.
Well, I mean, the alternative is be an indie talent and get called up to WWE because the merit of your work, and then you get to WWE, and then you either make it or you don't. And now it kind of seems like you could you make the work in the independents, you go to WWE. When you get fired from there, you have the alternative to go to AEW, which is kind of, I would say it's them just taking their seconds, but it kind of is to a degree as well. No,
Well, it absolutely is. You've got an already bloated roster with with you know, uh, and the talent was there before any of these guys stepped in,
you're definitely right
and
about that.
and now there are more former WWE talent on the AEW roster than there are actual original AEW talent.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. But let's kind of break this down into a few segments. Let's start with Jay White. It makes sense that he came. I think it was only a matter of time, considering he's not really doing anything in New Japan right now. So far as I know, he's still he's still a New Japan contracted wrestler. This is just he went through the forbidden door type thing. So it's kind of just he's there for the time being. Do you feel that way, or do you feel like this could be a full blown, contract? Or maybe you heard differently.
I I'm thinking this is going to be my honest opinion. I think Jay White is a stand-in for Kenny Omega.
Hmm. You think Kenny was supposed to come back sooner, but needed more time?
No, no, I think he's still recovering, but I think they're, I think they're going to attempt. Are they going to try and make it look like it's a where the entire elite turns on Kenny,
Hmm. Interesting.
and and I wouldn't be surprised if Adam Cole and Jay White made a deal, to to it's a it's a nice theory and it's interesting storytelling, no doubt. But then again, it's the second biggest problem that AEW has, and that's you know really letting the elite frame the narrative around themselves.
How do you feel about how they debuted Jay White? It wasn't too bad. I mean, it brought him into the story immediately, which was great. But I
I
kind of feel
mean,
like they could have maybe done something slightly different.
yeah, I think Jay White kind of deserved, at least a live crowd uh, debut. Um, but honestly, I thought it was Danhausen he was pointing to. Um,
It wasn't nice. It wasn't evil.
and nice, yeah, evil. Uh, like it's it's like at this point, I believe Tony Khan's motto is "He who dies with the most toys wins."
It certainly feels that way, right? But say however they debuted him. 5 minutes later, we go to commercial break after this segment. You have Private Party come out, and then you have Keith Lee come out and have take a spot in the Face of the Revolution tournament ladder match that is for the Sonic Ring. Um, and I feel like they kind of did Jay White dirty with that, in the sense of you had this really cool moment with Jay White, and now it's kind of overshadowed because you brought Keith Lee, and he actually got a crowd reaction, and he had a match. And I don't necessarily feel like that was right. I mean, you spaced shit like that out instead of just kind of drawing it all together. Am I wrong there?
No, not at all. And this is coupled with the fact that Tony Khan was promising an announcement, now at this point, the you know the fans now believe when Tony Khan says he's going to make an announcement, it's one of two things: either a faction forms or somebody debuts. No in between.
Yeah, that makes sense. How did you feel like? How did you feel Keith Lee looked during that match?
Uh, God, he kind of looked like an asshole. He kind of looked like a heel.
Hmm. Well,
Uh, I mean, was there a reason to powerbomb Private Party on the ring apron?
why not? But
Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't get the return of the the Big Bang catastrophe.
Yeah, he didn't do that, did he?
Oh, it's still the spirit bomb.
I mean, I'm not mad at it. I like, you know, lend me your energy and all that good shit.
Oh, come on. Who doesn't love a good BBC?
And I'm in America. I don't get BBC.
That's not the BBC I'm talking about. Of course, I'm talking about big. Never mind.
Um, but the match wise, I kind of understand what you're getting, but I'm not physical appearance. They kind of going around that maybe Lee was maybe a little more on the heavier side than he should have been.
I mean, I'm assuming they're attempting to make him the modern day Vader.
I think that's maybe the wisest decision. I mean, the way I see it is, he has had some, health problems in the past, especially pertaining towards his heart, and being more overweight is kind of, you know, it's not good for his health. But did you feel like he was maybe heavier than he was in WWE? Maybe not as in shape.
Mm, mm, I think it's got to do with the fact that he is the largest talent they've had so far.
Oh, so you're saying that because Isaiah Cassidy is so small, he just looked a lot bigger.
Yes, you know what they say. If you want to look thin, you hang out with fat people.
And
But but
I get that way too well. I understand that way too well. But you brought up an interesting topic about there being there's all this new talent, and what do you think? I mean, anywhere in the world, Keith Lee is a top talent, but I mean, we were talking about like 3, 4 months ago that you know Malachi Black could be the next world champion in the next 6 months, and now he just kind of fell to the wayside and is in a tag team with Brody King. So there's just so much top talent you could have and not do anything with them. Am I wrong here?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, it, at this point, I'd have to expect Tony Khan to start a tournament in his name,
The Tony Khan,
the Khan Cup.
and who would win that?
Whoever won would get a trophy of him,
Of themselves or of Tony Khan?
of Tony Khan about to unzip his pants. And the inscription on the trophy says, "You know what you have to do."
No, it's just an interesting way how they're going with this, and I just don't know. Does Kid Lee have a main event pushing him, or is it just we'll keep him up by the wayside for the time being, for maybe a year or two?
Honestly, I'm hoping they make Adam Cole his butler. Um,
Call him Buds.
but um, But it's gonna be nice to see the entire Dark Order get squashed, um, and the rest. Who would have ever thought that we would think we'd be saying that Marco Stunt was the smartest guy to ever come out of AEW by not staying. Uh,
Marco left.
yeah, he
How
hasn't
did he get out?
resigned. Exactly. That speaks volumes. I mean, but in terms of Keith Lee being in the main event, I mean, Lance Archer had a title match.
Which one?
Lance Archer, who, let's face it, even if you think he did improve in Japan, he's that rare exception that just didn't.
Hmm. I mean, I kind of like Lance Archer, so I and I didn't think the match that he had with Hangman Page was that bad.
No, it wasn't bad, uh, but how much of it was that actual creative booking rather than showcasing that Lance Archer could possibly actually win?
Right.
Yeah,
It didn't do him any favors.
that's the whole thing. It's that again, the chase, the chase has to be believable.
No, you're absolutely right about that. And you know what? Going back to Marco Stunt, you know what? Good on him. Uh, I'm not necessarily the biggest Marco Stunt fan, but at the end of his run, you know, he was doing his job, and he got Jurassic Express over more than Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Christian Cage ever did. So much respect to him. Hope he's doing good things. All right. Going on to another company, Terry and Killer Cross will be in MLW. Honestly, I don't see that as a bad thing. What about you, Scooter?
Not a bad thing if MLW can pick up the traction it had. I
Hammerstone
mean,
versus Cross match?
I mean, I here in New York, we actually used to get MLW regularly. I had it recorded on my DVR every week,
Hmm.
and not to mention that they used to do a lot of their shows only 10, 15 minutes from where I live. Uh, the question is, will we hear anything about what Cross does in MLW?
You're not wrong about that. I feel like you don't hear about what happens in MLW unless it's like really super big. And that usually doesn't happen, does it?
No.
So, if you get signed by MLW in the woods, does anybody see it?
Nope.
Alright,
Nope.
something that didn't happen in the woods but happened in St. Louis. Shane McMahon was supposedly supposed to have a big match at WrestleMania. Rumor, if you believe rumor and innuendo, as it suggests, he was supposed to wrestle Seth Rollins. Um, Seth Rollins versus Shane McMahon at WrestleMania. This could have been a kind of saving grace for Seth Rollins that he didn't get lumped in this match.
Oh yes, absolutely,
But
absolutely.
I mean, considering the year that he's had and the quality of matches and just character performance, and you do him dirty by giving him Shane McMahon, does that mean that they had nothing for Seth Rollins?
Mm, no, they they had something for Seth, and then they put Brock in, and then it would have because if Roman had actually showed up to day one, we we hmm now that I think about it, it's almost a damned if you do, damned if you don't thing for Seth in that case. Uh, because to Shane get this idea for a WrestleMania match with Rollins after day one, or did he have it, on his mind, prior?
And was it his ideal?
Not to mention, why was Shane in charge of having given so much control of the Rumble?
I feel like it was because they lacked um agents at that show. I mean, Tyson Kidd was home because dealing with his neck injury. Triple H is dealing with a heart injury and being fired. Uh, and you know, he was there, so why not let him do something more?
Yeah, and then you get something like the shit that went down, and they're like, "Oh, great! Thanks for making us regret this." It it's a very it's a very weird time, uh, in terms of trying to figure out if there really is anything cohesive behind the scenes in WWE.
Well, one of the other rumors I heard was a Bad Bunny match at Mania. You,
I had the same, yes.
that that would have sucked. I mean, Shane could have got a good match out of Bad Bunny. I feel.
But the question is why? Why would that match have happened to begin with?
Well, what I heard was that Shane was supposed to eliminate Bad Bunny from the Royal Rumble, or have Bad Bunny eliminate Shane. I
Okay, but yeah, he had more reason to have a match with Miz. You know, Miz made it personal. What what, what was Shane going to do? And apparently, Shane was going to do something that was apparently going to offend. Apparently, it did offend Bad Bunny so much to the point where Vince says he's not risking. the company in favor of his own blood.
It was so bad. He adopted Austin Theory and disowned Shane.
I mean, I really, honestly, I didn't think it, in 2022, we still be, getting Austin McMahon.
Yeah, it's a rivalry for the ages, isn't it? But
Oh, and that was the other big rumor. Shane versus Austin Theory for his father's affections.
that's hilarious considering he wrestled his father because he disapproved of him back in
I mean,
2009.
I
You
mean,
know,
it was almost 20 years ago when they wrestled at WrestleMania.
family bad blood. It just stays or lingers or
I mean,
whatever.
and add on top of that with Tony Khan mentioning that freaking forbidden door, which by the way we should friggin' solder it shut. That his announcement was the rumor was it was going to be Shane,
Oh my god,
and and when that was brought up, the response I saw from Reddit was, "Oh, that would clearly be an inside job." Uh, if the any of the current former WWE stars aren't already reporting back to Vince. Um, and my response to that is, oh, they won't need a McMahon to do an inside job to bring AEW down. They're doing it very well all by themselves.
Rachel, you're not wrong about that.
In fact, AEW's next pay per view is going to after Revolution is going to be called One Step Forward, Two Steps Back.
That sounds like a
Uh,
song.
it is. It was a Fallout Jewel song in the late '80s. Um, but it was called Opposite Attract.
Paula Abdul is
Oh,
all elite.
the, 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 there was another AEW rumor I was hearing about them putting another pay per view on the schedule
Hmm.
called Let It Ride.
For real
Keeping
or
this was just a completely rumor at the at this point, but keeping in theme with the
casino
Vegas, yeah. Um, I mean, aside from Revolution, um,
and full gear?
and Full Gear, but that that they were looking for that sixth pay per view so that they could basically do that, return to that old model of when it was a pay per view every 2 months.
What are they doing?
So
Different?
they've got five that they run through. You know,
Who?
not to mention Full Gear sucks as a title for a pay per view.
Not as bad as Great Balls of Fire. Could you imagine Keith Lee on the Great Balls of Fire pay preview?
I
Or
mean,
special event,
Full
special
Gear. I mean,
exclusive event?
at least that's got some semblance of sounding like an actual event name. Full Gear honestly sounds to me like a weekly television show. Welcome to Friday Night Full Gear.
It's better than Half Gear.
Rampage could have been a great pay-per-view title.
You're not wrong. All right. Where are we getting on to next? Oh, Daniel Bryan is going to be inducted into the Ring of Honor Hall of Fame. First person. Actually, Daniel Bryan, no. Daniel Bryan was not in the WWE Hall of Fame.
No, and didn't we discuss this last week?
No, it was the Briscoes.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay, yay. At this point, it's Ring of Honor is the kid going, Mom, 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 I'm still here. Hey,
You're not wrong about that. I mean, they have to actually do another event for us to believe that they're still in business. No,
I mean, at this point, they're better off, I think letting the Ring of Honor name live on through other promotions.
that wouldn't be, and just maybe do an event here and there, just to say,
Yeah,
hey, we used to be a thing.
yeah.
That's not
And,
actually a bad idea.
and maybe even, I don't know, work at a deal with the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame to have like a indie talent section.
Andy Talon wasn't inducted into the Hall of Fame anyway.
Yeah, but not until like years on down the road.
Hmm.
Talking about recognizing these significant contributions as they happen now, not 10, 15 years from now.
I gotcha. Hey, interesting concept to go with,
Yeah,
but
yeah, and let me just summarize this. Everyone believes that the concept of being a Hall of Famer happens after your career is essentially done. And then there's the return to glory of a Hall of Famer that thought his career was done. Nobody thinks of putting a current, consistently performing popular performer as a Hall of Famer, which is something I think needs to be rethought. Like, imagine if, you know, Randy Orton was just suddenly announced for the Hall of Fame and he's still going.
yeah,
Like that changes the whole like framework of what it means to be a Hall of Famer, and that it's not something that you don't have to wait for and hope that you get thrown that bone. By the way, this just in, um, Jay White to make his in-ring debut on Dynamite this Wednesday.
who's your wrestling?
Trent Beretta.
Oh, gee, like we couldn't see that on New Japan TV.
I mean, hey, with Roppongi Vice being made an official team in the AEW rankings.
Which makes no fucking sense whatsoever. It's supposed to be Trent and Chucky.
I think they want Chuck to go out on his own, and Cassidy is clearly going to do something with Danhausen.
Let's not get into that right now. let's
It's very nice, very evil.
let's conclude the news for now. And now a quick word from our sponsor.